The United Nations Human Rights Council concluded its 10th session recently. This 10th session was no ordinary session from the standpoint of Sri Lanka. It was held in a very particular set of circumstances where the pro-Tiger elements in the Tamil diaspora have been mobilized globally at a level and on a scale never seen before. The reason for this is very simple. It is in order to retard or, if possible, prevent the military victory of the Sri Lankan armed forces over the Tigers who are trapped in the Vanni. Given their weakness in the battlefield, on the ground, the LTT has spent enormous sums of money mobilizing elements of the Tamil diaspora who have turned into a very effective lobbying machine, particularly in Western societies where there are large Tamil emigre communities which form part of the electoral constituencies of political parties in these societies. Now, the anti-Sri Lankan effort at the Human Rights Council in Geneva this time was preceded by several pretty large demonstrations by the pro-Tiger Tamil diaspora. These were openly pro-LTT demonstrations, and at one such demonstration, a young man from London set himself on fire and committed suicide. Now, this was the stage setting for the Human Rights Council session. This was part of a huge psychological campaign to maneuver and move the Human Rights Council to criticize and indict Sri Lanka. There were three prongs to this effort. The Tamil diaspora effort, which was manifested in demonstrations outside the council, but also in lobbying within the United Nations by Tamil emigre organizations which are openly linked to the Tigers. The second prong was a group of Sri Lankan civil society activists, as they call themselves, from the south of Sri Lanka. Not a very effective lobby, I must say, though they were rather loud. But the third and most effective prong was the effort made by certain countries of the European Union. Now, these states made an attempt, piggybacking on a rather tendentious press release of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Madam Navanathan Pillai. These few EU countries attempted to secure a statement on Sri Lanka in the Council, in the Human Rights Council, either by the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Madam Pillai, or by the President of the Human Rights Council. They made a very serious attempt to do this, and they completely failed. They failed because the President of the Council, doing his duty in the face of enormous pressure from this EU faction, engaged in wide-ranging consultations with all regional and cross-regional groups in the Human Rights Council. And with the exception of this one regional grouping which had taken this initiative, an overwhelming majority of the Human Rights Council expressed its total opposition in consultations with the President to any such move on Sri Lanka. Now, this is not an attempt by a Sri Lankan diplomat to praise our own efforts. I think the best evidence and testimony is provided by the statement released by Julie Di Rivero, Geneva Advocacy Director of the Human Rights Watch, an exceedingly well-known international NGO which has been severely critical of Sri Lanka and which played a part in canvassing against Sri Lanka's continuing membership of the Human Rights Council during the elections which took place in the UN General Assembly in New York last year. Now, the Human Rights Watch, in a statement issued this month from Geneva, says it is inexplicable why the Council failed to take any action on Sri Lanka. No initiative was taken to mobilize the Council to take action on Sri Lanka, while the UN, humanitarian agencies and human rights defenders have been active. The Council has decided to stand by and watch, De Rivero said. Now, this is the Human Rights Watch criticizing the UN Human Rights Council for what she says is a failure to move on Sri Lanka. But what happened was that the Council refused to be misled into taking a stand which would have been unfairly critical of Sri Lanka. And this we were able to achieve at a time where the Tamil diaspora, the pro-Tiger elements of the Tamil diaspora, have mobilized as a fairly significant factor and force in the international arena as it pertains to Sri Lanka. Now, the secret of our success, I would say, is twofold. In the first place, the efforts made by the high-level Sri Lankan delegation that came in from the capital, from Colombo, led by the Honourable Minister for Human Rights, Mr. Mahinda Samarasinghe, and comprising also of the Honourable Attorney General, Mr. Mohan Peiris, Professor Rajiv Singh, Secretary to the Ministry of Human Rights and Disaster Management, and Deputy Solicitor General Yasantha Kodaguda. Together with the staff of our mission, the high-level delegation was able to brief many delegations that were attending the Human Rights Council sessions in numerous formats, bilateral meetings, working lunches, dinners, breakfasts, at which we continue to adopt our policy of open dialogue and engagement with the international community across the board. And by this method, we were able to provide these countries with an opportunity of voicing their concerns and sometimes even criticisms of Sri Lanka, while we ourselves were able to present the Sri Lankan point of view and perspective successfully. The second factor which led to our diplomatic success here is the outright support and solidarity from the non-aligned movement, from the rest of South Asia and Asia as a whole, from the African group, from the Latin American group, from Russia, China, our neighbors, India, Pakistan. So the overwhelming majority of the Human Rights Council extended its support and solidarity to Sri Lanka. So this convergence of our delegation, our mission, and the solidarity of the developing countries and the Eurasian countries to which we belong were the secrets of our success and our victory, which is bewailed and bemoaned by critics of Sri Lanka such as Human Rights Watch.